Hey, water signs. We're going to do a little read. I have a couple books that I have been using the past couple days. I'm just going to keep using them because they were highly effective. So let's hold this space for y'all and see what we can find. I'm going to start with Hope. This is by Max Lucado. I am going to randomly select a page. Ooh, chapter 5, A Sure Hope. This is page 94 and 95. It says, God is never too late or too early, too fast or too slow. He has always been and always will be right. Our devotion may falter, but God's never does. And God is leading you. Leave tomorrow's problems until tomorrow. So this kind of, to me, just, hi, Nala. Hi. My cat, Nala, loves to participate in the reads. She is very intuitive as well. So she'll be helping us intermittently when she feels like it, because she's a cat like that. Anyway, this was 190, 191, and 192. Yep. And 5, this is chapter 5, is A Sure Hope. It's on page 94. So 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 is not necessarily the greatest of numbers in the tarot. It means instability. You can add them together and it creates 4, which is also a family unit or a home. Since it's 94, I'm going to go ahead and say that there may be, like, hope. Hope is my name actually means hope. But I'm telling you that hope is not necessarily what you need to get you through every single situation. Hope is a double-edged sword. It is a good and a bad thing. So you can have a lot of hope for something that's never going to happen. You can also have a lot of hope for something that is going to happen. And keeping that hope is what keeps the flame alive. So, there's both sides of that coin, and you can choose which one applies to you. Anyway, the fact that it says our devotion may falter, but God never does. And then also that God is leading you. Leave tomorrow's problems until tomorrow. It may mean that you need to slow down a little bit. That, that the devotion that God shows us, and I'm not religious, but I am saying that whether you call God Allah, whether you call him, whatever you call his disciples, Moses, Jesus, whatever Ganesh, like however you associate with your divinity is what this is talking about. And it's saying that your divinity has control. So, rather than fearing the things that you can't control, it may be prudent to face them head on or leave them for God to handle. So those things, that prayer that's like, please give me the discernment to understand those things that I can change, and have the wisdom to leave those that I cannot. That's more or less what this is saying, I believe. It's to put your faith forward. Not necessarily in vain and not necessarily without hope, but also just in a different scope, perhaps, or a different way. If your manifestations feel like they're somehow, stagnant, then it may be wise for you to leave it in the hands of a higher power at this point. One of the things that I'm always very cognizant of are the limitations of myself as a human. I think all of us are. I think that is the awareness of struggle, if you will. I think it is the understanding that we all struggle at times, but it's also the understanding that that's okay. It's okay to struggle. That your struggles are being witnessed by a much higher dimension than you could even begin to want to wholly understand. It's a big, loud conundrum of intentions out there. So you get to choose which ones you subscribe to. And not only that, but you get to choose how to remain autonomous, to stand in your own power, how to speak your own truth, how to live it, how to be it. So I think that's a pretty poignant message from me, at least. So I really like this book, Earth Ascending. It is by Jose Arguelles. Sorry if I butchered your last name. It is an illustrated treatise on the law governing whole systems. And the reason I like this book is not only for the illustrations, because they're amazing and include a whole bunch of geometric spiritual activation. They also kind of break down the way in which you can encode yourself to embody these different natures or vibratory patterns of energy that you'd like to embody. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and flip. We came to 82 and 83. 82, 8 plus 2 is 10. So that's the 10 in the tarot is the world card. It's the completion of a cycle, or just it's the world card. And the world card means that something has been achieved. That something is coming to fruition and you're done working on it for that moment. It's like, yay, I finally got there. I'm going to just shut my eyes. This is a long portion, so I don't really want to read all of it. I'm just going to choose this paragraph. What is of significance in contemplating this particular map is the observation that, for all intents and purposes, okay, I feel like if I had an animal deck right now, probably just would have drawn some porpoise, dolphin, like whale vibes, like orca or something. I don't know why that came through. It just seemed relevant. Anyway, what is of significance in contemplating this particular map is the observation that, for all intents and purposes, the medieval psychocultural phase was basically a function or activity of the northern spring division of the Afro-Eurasian plate. Hence the designation medieval cosmopolitan complex, from Linden's Farn to Kyoto. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not one clue what that means, but I will interpret it the way that I know how. So, basically, when you're looking at maps of the world, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but usually in a lot of the maps that are illustrated across the United States, Africa is pictured as being almost the same size as the United States, which is a gross distortion of what the actual map looks like. Africa is about 3 to 3.5 times larger than the United States in terms of geographical space taken up by its actual physical geographical presence. So that being the case, this may have in large part to do, it says here, for all intents and purposes, the medieval psychocultural phase was basically a function or activity of the northern spring division of the Afro-Eurasian plate. So I think when you're thinking about the entire world in perspective with itself, you can think about relativity. You can think about the way that your life is relative to your neighbors, or your life is relative to your siblings or to your parents or to any other human being that you come in contact with on a regular basis. Proximity in large part does have a lot to do with affinity. So when you think about the world map being an accessible tool for you to use in the future, I think sometimes for some reason what's coming through loud and clear to me is that you need to keep the parameters or the boundaries of your own territories clearly defined for yourself. apartheid in large part was a problem because the people knew the boundaries. The residents of the actual geographical space that was being occupied owned that land. Their family had lineage and generations of humans that existed on that land. And then, colonizers came in looking to draw lines with a marker on non-existent borders. And it was a creation of a division that did not need to be there. It was a obsessive drive to define and quantify a human experience of a geographical space that cannot be quantified. It cannot be measured in the basic 3D measures that we have available to ourselves right now. So when you think about a graphing calculator, you've got the X, the Y, and the Z axis, right? So you've got 3 different coordinates or axes. Plus, if I told you to meet me on the corner of 2nd and B Street at the 3rd floor, you would also need to know the time to meet me there in order for that to happen. For us to coordinate, I could have stood there for my entire life and left for 5 minutes for a coffee break. And during those 5 minutes, those were the 5 minutes you showed up. So unless we coordinate time frequencies together, there's also no real connection that happens. And I think that that's what proximity has to do with what we're talking about. In this context, they're talking about a whole entire map. So when you think about the land of Mu or Lemuria, when you think about lost continents of information, historical records that have sunk beneath the waves, human lives that have been lost, beyond our frame of reference for, it's a spiritual journey. It's really poignant to, my cat is freaking out. It's really important to she's having a hissy fit right now. It's really important to reground yourself and regroup with some of the basic alignments, coordinates of your own self. And I think that when you're willing to face things like head on, instead of taking things at face value, when you look at a map, instead of just accepting that these are the geographical regions that have been assigned these specific, nationalities or groups of people or specific language speakers, or we tend to quantify things like that. It's more of a qualification where you take the entire story of someone's life, the fact that they've had 3 generations living there, that they've had a legacy of goats in their family, where they have climbed to the peak of the Alps in order to pick the rarest herbs and lick the rarest salts. That's actually the essence of who we are as humans. The amount of love or affection, nurturing, nutritional wealth in love that you can pour forward, whether that be by activating the change that needs to happen in order for that to manifest, or by also acknowledging that it already exists within yourself right now. Whichever way you need to do that in whatever moment, that's totally legitimate. So I feel like water signs, there may be a portion of you who are feeling maybe a little bit stressed right now and have some questions about what direction you'd like to go, where you're supposed to be located, why this is all happening, what kind of geographical parameters or boundaries do you want to set for yourself? And that may be an important thing for you to examine over the next couple, this is too many cards, I'm sorry, over the next couple of weeks, days, however long. Defining things for yourself is critical. So if you're able to do that, then I feel like you're also able to clearly look at what you know, your shortcomings and your strengths, your weaknesses and your strengths. You can use your strengths as your weaknesses, and you can use your weaknesses as your strengths. But not unless you're willing to sit and actually process them through fully, or to process the ways in which and why you function that way. Why? I said why, and that the Five of Swords popped out really quickly. Okay. All right, so I pulled 4 cards just now from my Rider-Waite Tarot deck. We do have the Hierophant in reverse. So this is somebody not taking a commitment or not making a commitment to something. Somebody has choices on how they would like to work together in a scenario. They may have been a little bit smug about this, a little bit like, well, I'm going to triumph no matter what. This person, because they've got 7 different choices right here, they think that they are prevailing. This may be you, Scorpio. This may be the way that you're feeling, and that you're sitting pretty like an empress. You're smugly sitting here like an empress, having choices on how to work together with some situation, person, place, or thing. So I don't know, you apply this to your life the way that it makes sense to you, but this is just what I'm seeing. I definitely think in conjunction with what we just read, obviously this could be, you know, somebody thinking about the fact that they're taking luxury, or they're taking abundance of some type right here, and they're taking it for granted, honestly. So, you know, I don't know who this is. I don't know what the situation is with your life. But if this could be an earth sign, it could be just somebody who's very well established, who lives in the life of luxury, who always has, probably always will. But this person is feeling really smug and kind of like they got over the Five of Swords. You know, there's a man here who has hurt some people in the background there, but he still has 2 swords over his shoulder, and he's like walking forward kind of, you know, like whatever. So if that's the way you're feeling, I'm really sorry. I definitely think this has much more to do with redefining your own map, or drawing your own railroad tracks in the sand. You know what I mean? Like being able to connect the dot to dot to the point where you've got your own track that nobody can really take from you, that multiplies in and of itself. It's your cup runneth over. So in any case, let's go on to the next book. I may only draw from a couple today, guys. The Biology of Belief is this next one. This is also a really good book. Obviously, it has to do with the way that you think. This is by Bruce H. Lipton, and it's Unleashing the Power of Consciousness, Matter, and Miracles. We're going to open up page 100. The Illusion of Matter. I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, my finger slipped, but I'm going to stop here. 3 short years later, the notion that the atom was the smallest particle in the universe fell by the wayside with the discovery that the atom itself is made up of even smaller subatomic elements. Even more earth-shattering than the discovery of those subatomic particles was the revelation that atoms emit various strange energies, such as X-rays and radioactivity. At the turn of the 20th century, a new breed of physicists evolved, whose mission was to probe the relationship between energy and the structure of matter. So honestly, guys, this is intriguing. If you have not seen my read that I did 2 days ago, I believe, you should go back and watch that, because it literally has to do with strange energies. So anyway, at the turn of the 20th century, a new breed of physicists evolved, whose mission was to probe the relationship between energy and the structure of matter. Within another 10 years, the physicists abandoned their belief of and in Newtonian material universe, because they had come to realize that the universe is not made of matter suspended in empty space, but energy. I feel like I should read that last sentence again, because I was stumbling all over my words, which I really apologize for. Within another 10 years, physicists abandoned their beliefs in a Newtonian material universe because they had come to realize that the universe is not made of matter suspended in empty space, but energy. So this is really interesting. There's a picture here of a Newtonian atom and a quantum atom. I just thought y'all should see that. The quantum atom looks like a void of space. And I think that one of the things that as tarot readers we tend to forget is that unless you have an empty cup, it cannot be filled. So oftentimes I see tarot readers interpreting the Ace of Cups as overflowing emotion. And even me, I interpret it that way as well. It means you're very fulfilled or very happy with something. But one of the things about being self-fulfilled or self-happiness, like loving thyself, if you will, is that your cup always overfloweth. So you're not afraid to empty it out, because you know it will refill at all times. There's no limits. There's no maximum depth in which you can swim. It's literally a God-given, inherent key to your life that each of us are given. And it's only for your life. No one else's key can open your box, and no one else's box is going to fit your key either. You can try, but you can either get your key stuck in someone else's locks, or you can accept that the key doesn't fit. So there's a compromise, I guess, that you have to come to with the universe in general, where you're okay with understanding that your beliefs will dictate your future. And although you may manifest something, like you may really want to become pregnant or something like that, then all of a sudden you get a really good idea that's huge, maybe that's more so the pregnancy than your physical body being pregnant with a baby. Maybe you really want a new job, so you think about this new job and you focus on it, etc., etc. And rather than the new job coming along, you find a injured bird laying in your yard that needs help. These are all the same message on a micro scale, which I was talking about in that other video. It's about understanding the relationship between yourself and the need from the universe for your assistance in whatever spiritual aspect you've manifested yourself in. So if you're good at taking care of others, if you're good at finances, if you're good at sales, if you're good at PR, if you're good at whatever it is that you're good at, that can help somebody or the world in a positive way if you're willing to look for it. And it's not about the failures. You can fail as many times as you want. It's about how many times you get up. How motivated are you to make the change a necessary, constant one that you incorporate into your life, and even into yourself. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and close this out by drawing some pictures. I'm going to use these as my cards today, just to switch it up. This is the ABCs of Nature, a family answer book. It's by Reader's Digest. Super cool, kind of like Time magazine. Okay. Why do birds sing? This is on Sounds and Signals, page 168. Interesting, because they also have how do chimpanzees communicate, as well as other couple things like a grabe's body language. But anyway, birds make sounds in their throats such as we humans do, but their sound box, or syrinx, is at the bottom of the windpipe. Our larynx is near the top. So they may have more of a guttural understanding of communication than we do. Your throat chakra, if it's clogged, you cough a lot. If you have something you are being, choked out on saying, you oftentimes have a very visceral reaction to that. So it's interesting that birds probably wouldn't have that same reaction. They won't get choked up here. They get choked down there. Such deep-voiced birds as whooping cranes and trumpeter swans have windpipes that measure an amazing 3 or 4 feet. A few species, such as the European white stork, are voiceless because they have no syrinx. Most birds sing in the morning or even are quiet at midday. Whippoorwills sing in the twilight hours. Mockingbirds and nightingales are nocturnal singers. Although no two individuals sing exactly alike to the trained human ear, the song of each species is distinct in its appearance, sometimes more so, in fact. Birdwatchers rely on sound to identify certain kinds of flycatchers. For example, they cannot tell the species apart by sight. So, in nearly all bird species, males are the more impressive songsters. They sing primarily to establish a claim to the territory, and some repeat their songs thousands of times a day, moving from perch to perch within their domain. Singing peaks just prior to the breeding, and most species stop singing as the breeding season ends. Okay, that's interesting because we were just talking about manifestations. So this is another example of that. I think it's in large part sorry guys if I just gave you an eyeful. I decided I was going to use the Angel. This is the Angel Tarot deck by Doreen Virtue. I think we're going to pull some cards for the animals actually off of this. And I would say birds in large part mean a message. They, in Harry Potter, they've got the owls that send the messages out or the mail for the day. Birds are messengers. They're the iris message. They're the, oftentimes when you hear crows, it's because there is some type of energetic exchange happening around you. So there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of meaning behind them as a species. Birds as a species. They are flight. They are air element. So air element in the tarot would be Libra, Aries, Gemini. Those are the air signs. This could particularly relate to an air sign, or this is supposed to be a water sign read, but you may be dealing with an air sign. Okay, so all these popped out, which is way too much, but we're getting closer. Yeah, there you go. So exactly 4 cards popped out, which is what I was going to draw anyway. I've got the Justice in the upright, the Empress in the upright, the Moon in the upright, and the 5 of Earth in the upright. So this is Archangel Raguel. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. Okay? That's kind of what I was just saying, is that if you're, feeling some type of way about a territory that you're watching out for, or if you've got a map of your life kind of planned out, stand up for what you believe in. Like, fight for it. Because your intuition is the loudest voice of God that could ever be heard. So, that's all on that. Whatever God you believe in, and I do not care. The Empress, which is number 3. Okay, and Justice is number 8. So 8 is abundance. 3 is the Trinity. The Empress is Archangel Gabriel. This is lavish abundance. Give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. So whatever you're doing, reach out to other people. Make sure that you're willing to open your energy for others to observe, for others to partake in, for yourself to partake in. Just let that free kind of, let freedom ring. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm done. Sorry, that was like super intense. Well, I'm just saying it's kind of intense energy though. So the Moon is a secret. This is Archangel Haniel. Important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So as I was saying before, if you're able to channel your own intuition, you will get insight into what is going on in your life right then. People will constantly underestimate you, especially if you're intuitive. So that being the case, take advantage of it. I mean, take it, like literally take it. Be like, I'll take that. I'll take this too. I'll take that and that and that and that. Keep all of your options open. Don't say no to anybody except for anyone outside of yourself. Say yes to yourself every single time. Question everybody else all the time. And yeah, of course, accept those people, places, and things that you want in your life, or that you could see a specific direction, goal, manifestation being created with this entity. Like, yes, do that. But at the same time, don't let other people knock you off your throne with yourself. If you let other people tell you what to believe in, then you're not standing for anything. You stand for something or you fall for everything. So the moon, I feel like, just has to do a lot with the fact that these are going to, this abundant trinity, or this God energy right here, is going to come out if you're willing to reveal your secrets, be kind of an open book. The 5 of Earth is here. Says fear surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. So this has a lot to do, this is Pentacles. This has a lot to do with finances, but Pentacles can also mean like an emotional investment that you've made in something. So maybe secretly Justice is the Libra card. There's also the Empress here. Empress is a earth sign. So maybe you have a Libra earth sign combo person over here who is literally hiding pentacles or hiding money. And it doesn't mean they're necessarily hiding it. It just means that maybe the moon just denotes 1 + 8 is 9. This is life path 9. This is 9 is introspection. It's looking at yourself. It's being able to be self-critical, self-regulatory. It's a completion of the 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 5 of Earth. 5s, like I said before, are towers. But in this case, it's being perhaps left out in the cold. So maybe the secret of this Libra earth sign person is secretly being left out in the cold. Maybe this person, their knowledge or what they have got to contribute, and that could be you, earth signs, like, you know, this doesn't have to be an air sign or an earth sign. This could just be somebody who's going after the justice of their happiness. The Empress is a luxurious card. Justice is obviously, you deserved it. So you're worth it. You're worth it, you know? And that's that. Don't let nobody steal your shine. Definitely define your own boundaries on whatever map, you know, whether it be an essay map, a life map, a career map, a romantic map. Don't let anyone define your boundaries for you. Stand strong, y'all. Love you, earth signs. Smooches. Boo. Toodles. See y'all next time.